So functional family therapy is an evidence-based practice. It's been highly successful intervention program for at-risk youth and their families. It has been applied to a wide range of problem issues such as conduct problems, substance abuse, acting out behaviors, and it's been used with a wide range of ethnic, with multi-ethnic, multicultural contexts.
I think it's really important that we talk about outcomes. FFT was chosen because of the strong research base and the strong evidence in the literature that this intervention improves family functioning, decreases recidivism among adolescents. And as we talk about moving evidence-based practices throughout our service delivery systems in real-world settings, it's important to look at that real-world data. So the data that I'm showing you today come from the 40 teams across the state of California that are implementing functional family therapy and have been for the past 8 years. So these are California youth. So we have almost 3,000 clients in the entire sample, 2,942. And what I did is I broke it out by the 3 predominant racial and ethnic groups. When I run my high-powered statistical analyses, there are no statistically significant differences in the gains made, in the improvements made with our clients in functional family therapy. The largest group that we have is our Hispanic group. There's almost 1,500 of them, 1,458. Caucasians and African Americans are a little more similar. We have the Caucasian group, 591 is the sample or the group size there, and the African American group are 606. Again, what you can see is overall across the 3 groups, they all are improving. So I just wanted to make the point that in the data that we've been collecting through FFT implementation, this implementation of this particular practice across the state in the last 8 years, that across these predominant major racial and ethnic groups, we are seeing similar gains, similar achievements, and similar benefits.
And so I'm going to speak a little bit about some of the accommodations that we've made in order to be sensitive to the different diverse populations that we serve. I spoke a little bit yesterday that we did that, and I wanted to give you just a little bit more detail about the types of things that we've done in order to match to the families that we serve. I'll start by talking about some of the things that we've done as a county to increase access to services. And some of those things included having, with CIMH's help in the beginning of this process back in 2004, the community development teams that really assisted in bringing all the stakeholders together to discuss how to overcome barriers and how to deliver these services. So one of the things that we decided to do is change our delivery system, and we began to provide services in the home or in the community primarily. Now, in order to match to our families, if there are families that are more comfortable with coming into the office, we make provision for that as well. But for the most part, in order to increase access and engagement, we began to provide services in the family's home. So automatically, by doing that, you decrease the no-show rate. So as we move through the model, the goal is to match to those families. So the African American families, if we want to, have session with the barbecue, we have session at the barbecue. If we want to have session I've often had session in the kitchen with mothers cooking while we were having session and yelling back and forth, then that's what we did to accommodate what was comfortable for that family. And in the generalization phase, we try to link to systemic supports that we think will assist the family with what's natural to them. So oftentimes with African American families, the church is very important. And so oftentimes we will refer to church programs. We will even go out and talk to the pastor, find out what opportunities are there for the church to create some kind of support for the family.
So functional family therapy is an evidence-based practice. It's been highly successful intervention program for at-risk youth and their families.
I think it's really important that we talk about outcomes. FFT was chosen because of the strong research base and the strong evidence in the literature that this intervention improves family functioning, decreases recidivism among adolescents.
So one of the things that we decided to do is change our delivery system, and we began to provide services in the home or in the community primarily. Now, in order to match to our families, if there are families that are more comfortable with coming into the office, we make provision for that as well. But for the most part, in order to increase access and engagement, we began to provide services in the family's home. So automatically, by doing that, you decrease the no-show rate. We will often even see clients pro bono. We service a large immigrant population, sometimes undocumented, and rather than turn services away, oftentimes we've taken those families on, also being sensitive to that population as well. I also created an engagement protocol. So one of the other core principles of FFT is to be relentless about trying to engage families into treatment. So we don't call a family and say, oh, we want to engage you in treatment, and they say no, and we go away. We keep coming. I have an 8-step process that clinicians have to go through before they can say that they cannot engage a family into treatment.